think here, Paula.
I'm rolling.
Okay.
Just so we get the
You're recording all my control stuff. Now this is what I want you to do. Oh, you're rolling? Oh, hi.
That's funny. That's funny.
This is Paula, and I'm from India during 9/11.
I liked how you said I should have kept rolling with you and Michael Jazz. I would have, except I didn't want to.
Oh God, yes, that
out.
was like priceless.
But there was enough of it to get a gist.
No, there wasn't. You cut just when I had a meltdown, and then I, cut back in, and oh no, it was brilliant. And then we had a resolution. We had a breakthrough. But the shows on M&N are 28 minutes, but I only shoot 27, so we have time for websites, to send. All I'm saying is that unless it's a real train wreck, I don't like to stop, because I don't want to have to edit. And I find when you edit, it kind of breaks the energy.
Hold on a second. Chris?
Yeah.
Do you need to go to the bathroom? Because we're gonna film here now, so in case you need to...
Oh, I probably should.
Thank you.
Thanks, I have to go to the bathroom a lot.
Pee now or forever hold your peace, so to speak.
So that's good of you to ask.
That's what my
Nice.
mother used to always say.
Excuse me.
So Paula, she's moving the mic in, so see if the sound levels are too peaky.
Keep talking.
I can push it back once he's back.
I know. I'm just.
Oh,
It's
maybe it's nice there.
It's fine. How are we the same? I think we both have pretty strong voices, don't we?
Paula, can you talk?
This is a...
Hi, this is Molly Cheshire. This is Meetings with Remarkable People, and my guest is Paula. And she has got this amazing new therapy that she has experienced about ozone therapy. And, I'd like to sort of figure out how you got into this. I mean, because from what I understand, my father is a scientist who used to work for DuPont, which is very unfortunate, but he thinks that ozone is a poison. And from what I understand, that's not true. And so I think a lot of people think along those lines.
Right. Well, according to the official line by the FDA, ozone is a toxic gas. But at the same time, there is a law which required all cities in the United States to ozonate their water by 2008. Whether that was really enacted or not, I don't know.
Which is a great thing now when I find out. I mean, thank God.
Yeah.
As opposed to, so they're not going to use chlorine?
So, I'm not sure exactly the details, but what I can imagine that there's going to be some mixture of ozonation and then some chlorine added too.
So we get some good stuff and some poison.
Right.
So how is it that all of a sudden ozone has become a positive thing and not a negative thing?
Well, ozone has been a positive thing ever since it has been discovered, which was around 100 years ago. And also, to your question that a lot of people think ozone is a poison. So, this changes from country to country. In America, the FDA says it's toxic, okay? In another country, in Germany, they say no, it's not toxic, and 70% of all physicians use it there.
And you're from Germany, correct?
Yes.
And so, did you find out about this therapy when you were in Germany?
I found about this, yes. But it was an independent research that I did online. I came across it totally by chance.
How did you come across it?
I was once reading articles on WashingtonPost.com, and there was on the sidebar there was a little.
Actually, just so you know, the Washington Post is actually a good newspaper as opposed to the New York Post that is not quite so reputable. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and so there was a little small tiny line which was actually turned out to be an ad. And it claimed some remarkable medical technology, and it sounded basically too good to be true. But I was on Washington Post's website, so out of curiosity, I clicked on it, and it was a link to Dr. Douglas Williams' book, A Medical Miracle, about hydrogen peroxide. So this caught my attention. I was very interested in it. I bought the book, I read it, and in this book, Dr. William Douglas mentions ozone as something being even more potent than hydrogen peroxide.
Wow.
So I figured I have to know about it, I have to try it, and I did.
And you have Lyme disease.
Yes.
And so you found that the all the critters can be exterminated with ozone. Right?
Yes. It does take time, though, even with ozone.
I mean, how long have you been doing it? Because, I mean, I come from horse country down in Pennsylvania, and I can't tell you how many friends of mine have Lyme's. And, I mean, they're sort of old school, so I don't know if I could convince them that ozone might be the answer, because it just seems too far out for most people, Why do you think our medical profession is not at all interested in ozone?
Well, because it's just too effective, basically, I believe that our medical profession is not interested in at all in finding a cure to anything. They're only interested in treating the symptoms, the most urgent symptoms, and then make as much money of a single patient as possible.
But hang on, aren't there 2 doctors that you know of that have embraced ozone?
That's right, but I know more than those 2 doctors.
But nevertheless, it somehow is seeped in to the medical profession.
There are always exceptions out of the rule, always.
But I'm just saying that at least somebody out there. I mean, you said you knew someone in Queens and somebody in
New Rochelle. I also know 2 others in Manhattan.
But are they allowed to actually administer ozone?
Yes, they're all medical doctors.
Okay. So at least it's not like something you're going to go to jail for, like hemp oil or, there's a lot of these cures.
Well, in 14 out of the... How many states are in the States? 51? 50. In 14 out of 50 states, you will not go to jail for it if you're a doctor and you administer ozone. 14. And the rest, there's the risk, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that what I find so just mind-boggling is that there are a lot of therapies that, Paula, Gloria, and I have been investigating that people, they won't even look at the evidence. They're so riveted in this.
Because we are being totally brainwashed. There's right now you don't have access to free objective information. If you listen to the major news outlets, like the TV channels or what we call printed media. They're all corrupt. It is a kind of like an apocalyptic vision, but
I'm not sure if corrupt is the word that I would use. I would just say indoctrinated. I mean, like, do you think it's any different in Germany? You agree with me, of course. Or do you think that they suffer from the same thing? It's just they've managed to accept ozone. Yes.
I don't know exactly how it happened in Germany that actually so many doctors embrace ozone. It surely is not thanks to the media,
right? But I mean, the thing is that I don't think that our society should be based on the media to bring out these new therapies. The doctors themselves, one would hope, should be investigating new ways of healing. I mean, That's true, yeah. I know enough doctors that I don't think they're all just out for the money.
But the doctors, they go to colleges which are either funded by pharmaceutical companies. Their literature is being published by companies which are owned by pharmaceutical companies. And then the funding for the research again.
Well,
comes
I
from
think that the
school.
funding for the research is where the real issue is.
So doctors come out of colleges and they're already being totally indoctrinated. And they're being taught that drugs are the only way, proven way to go, and that everything else is hogwash. Quakery.
Yeah. So anyway, so back to how we can all be healed by ozone. I mean, tell us exactly how it works, and you know, because now that you're the expert or an expert, or you've done a lot of research, how does it actually
Well, I've
work?
experienced it also.
And what's your experience?
So basically, ozone can be, since ozone is a gas, there are different forms how to administer it. You can do a sauna, an ozone sauna,
Mm-hmm.
where steam opens your pores, and through the open pores, ozone comes in and detoxes and oxygenizes your tissue, your fats, all the toxins that are stored in the fat, the muscles,
And also-
tendons, lymph, blood.
It kills viruses too. I mean, like you were saying,
Ozone basically kills everything that's bad to your health.
right.
And it makes the good stuff, the good cells flourish.
And how does it detox per se? I mean, I don't quite understand. I mean, if it kills everything, then how does it get
The thing
rid
is, how it neutralizes toxins is by an electrical charge. Ozone is negatively electrically charged.
Oh.
Every pathogen has either a positive charge or a negative charge, which is far below ozone's.
Gotcha.
So this makes ozone very reactive, especially to all kinds of pathogens, toxins, viruses, bacteria, heavy metals, cancer cells. It eliminates all those things on contact. It attaches itself to whatever pathogen it encounters, and what's being created is a neutralized form of that pathogen. It's dead. Ozone
Gotcha.
kills it by interrupting whatever the pathogen is covered with, and then the body eliminates it either through feces, sweat, breath. Yeah.
I mean, what's fascinating to me is that you can ingest, so to speak, ozone from practically every orifice. I mean, actually every orifice, including your skin.
Except your eyes. That's right.
Except your eyes.
Yes.
Why is it bad for your eyes?
That's what people who have experimented with the ozone found out, that the eyes are the only part of the body that ozone can damage.
I wonder why that is. Do you know?
No. Actually, I did not go into.
You just close your
details.
eyes. No point in taking any chances.
No, to damage your eyes with ozone, you'd have to point a concentrated stream of ozone directly into your
Right.
eyes.
And you actually breathe it through olive oil, from what I understand.
That's right. When you breathe it through olive oil, that's a very good protocol if you want to treat any kind of respiratory conditions, like asthma, bronchitis, anything that has to do with, let's say, a sore throat, any kind of inflammation of your lungs. Also for the sinuses, it's very good. So if you bubble the ozone through olive oil first, it becomes less irritating, or less harsh to the lungs, but it still retains its positive health effects.
And how many treatments does it usually take for you to see results?
Usually people respond to ozone immediately.
Immediately.
Yes. Even, I mean, you've tried some ozonated water, right?
Yeah.
You tried the ozone inhaling. So that was your first time,
it's
right?
it's a great feeling, and I'm sure it had some beneficial effects, but it's hard because I don't have sort of
A specific condition.
specific condition like sores or
But you did experience the effect of ozone.
Oh yeah. I mean,
What did you feel?
Well, it's almost like having. I was going to say a glass of wine, but it's more like meditation. Like sort of when I'm in a power spot, there's just this sort of high that you get,
Wow.
and that's more the feeling that you get.
Oh.
This expanded consciousness and. Yeah, it's not like drugs. It's much different, but it's definitely that hyper awareness that you get when your frequency starts going up.
So really everybody responds immediately to ozone. If as far as treating a condition goes, it depends what kind of condition you have. It depends how severe it is.
Well, like for example, when did you start noticing a difference with your Lymes?
Okay. Well, okay. Where should I start? I remember I had my first ozonated saline IV done by Dr. Chandler Clark, and what I experienced on my way back from his office was I had extreme shivers. My body went completely cold. I was sitting in the train and I was just freezing. Then when I got off the train and was going to the subway, my whole body seemed to be paralyzed. It was to the point I could barely stand upright. I was walking like an 80-year-old woman, and I was so embarrassed because I had all those people around me, you know.
Sure.
And
you look very young.
Yeah.
And I've had the same experience because I have a back condition, and when it goes out, you're sort of hunched over, and you're going through the airport with all this hand luggage, and can't carry
it. It was not only my back, my legs, my feet. I could not move them properly without feeling pain. And yet I tried to pretend like everything is, okay, because all those people were around. And then on the subway, I nearly passed out. I was holding myself to the rail, and I was like, everybody on the car was looking at me, and I was just praying that they would not, call an ambulance or something and make a huge scene out of it. So that was an immediate detox reaction that I had.
I see.
To Lyme, because all those symptoms were symptoms that I experienced all those years before. Not that severe though,
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was.
Well, once you got beyond the shivers, then how did you feel?
Then how did I feel? I did not feel an immediate improvement or anything.
How long? How many sessions? Because IV seems to be a much more
powerful.
So how many sessions did you do with that before you felt a difference?
I started feeling a difference with the IVs when I really started doing it like on a daily basis to myself.
Daily basis?
Yeah. I taught myself. No, I had somebody who showed me how to do it, and I got all the equipment, and and then I saw dramatic improvement. Yeah.
So on a daily basis, for how long until you saw dramatic improvement?
It's hard to tell because I was doing a lot of other stuff, a lot of other ozone protocols at the same time, But
so
when I
go ahead.
Yeah, I went all out, I went all out on ozone.
Okay, well, so forget about you're doing IV, you're doing whatever, but how you're doing the most ozone you can do, and then how long did it take before you saw improvement? Like a week, a month?
okay, I had different issues. Okay, I had issues with my joints. I had issues with my tendons. I had issues with my breathing. I had issues with my eyes, with my brain, with all basically.
You had advanced stages of Lyme's disease.
Yes, so so I saw improvement. For example, I had ozone shots done in my knees for the pain in my knees. And this kicked in immediately.
Gotcha.
Okay, just an example for one symptom. Okay, for example, my brain symptoms. When I would do an IV or would somebody else have done do it to me, I would feel great that same day. You know, the day after, it would get less. You know.
Right.
So that's why I started doing the IVs every day. You know? And
I mean, you can actually take oxygen. I had always heard that if you took oxygen and put it into your bloodstream, that you could possibly die. So I mean, just
no, you can't.
How does it work?
The thing is that oxygen, when you put it in your vein, it gets absorbed by the blood cells immediately. Right. That's what blood cells do. They transport oxygen. That's their job.
But I thought that they had to go through the capillaries, and then they had to be sort of receptive to it in your lungs, and that's.
Oh, they do. They go through capillaries and everything. They deliver the oxygen through.
But I thought that maybe you could OD on oxygen. I mean, they always tell you that you can kill someone.
Well, they're wrong. Another point where they're wrong. I mean, up
maybe
to
it was
now,
some James Bond movie that I was watching or something.
Up until now, I would say I've done like 100 IVs on myself, and so far I'm alive. So it's gotta be something either wrong with the theory, or maybe it's not oxygen that I'm injecting myself.
No, I'm fascinated because it looks so. I mean, I saw on YouTube a couple of I don't know, clips, and the thumbnail photo is. It looks kind of ominous, they've got, someone with getting injections, and I don't know, I hate needles anyway, so, but taking it intravenously, what, does that exponentially improve the,
it's
treatment?
You see, Lyme, if you have not experienced it, it's really difficult to explain it, because Lyme is a beast of its own.
Right.
The thing is, Lyme will jump from in your body from place to place. Okay, so you have to just keep hitting it from different angles.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is the IV the best method for Lyme? My experience now tells me no, not necessarily. You can get rid of Lyme also without the IVs. The best method is to just keep on hitting the Lyme from every angle possible. It's not only enough to only do IVs or only saunas or only ear insufflations.
What happens if you just had an ozone machine going in your house, like full stop all day long? And so you're just breathing it, living it, and
that's basically my situation, more or less.
But that's not so bad. I mean, it has a strange smell to it, no? Or don't you even notice the smell anymore?
I love the smell. It's a smell of freshness. It reminds me of when we used to have a garden, and after the lightning, after the rain.
That's when ozone happens.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how it's naturally
occurs.
Created. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit strange.
You don't like
smell.
it?
It's not desperately strange, but it's a little odd. I mean, it doesn't.
Usually.
Acquired taste.
Well, when you know what it's doing, then I like it. Then all of a sudden, the smell of ozone sounds like healing. Smells like healing. But
usually people don't like the smell when they start the procedure, and once they're detoxed,
they like it. So, but the taste of the water is a little odd too. No, you like the taste of the water?
Well, it is different from.
I understand, but I mean don't you drink food grade hydrogen peroxide as well?
I do, yeah.
I mean, and that is that more effective than ozonated water? Or?
It's different.
But what does that do while we're sort of in the oxygen subject?
It does the same thing, but on a different level. You know, hydrogen peroxide is what I experience when I drink it. It's highly diluted. Is
and it's food grade too, right?
It's food grade. That's right.
Has to be food grade.
Yes.
Can't just go buy it at the grocery store.
No. Is that I experience the detox in maybe different areas than when I drink the ozonated water, and it's maybe sometimes it's more intense, sometimes less intense. You know.
And what do they say that does versus the ozonated water?
Basically, it does the same thing. It oxygenizes your body. It kills the bad bacteria which flourish on sugar and are anaerobic. It kills those in your digestive tract, and that's the same thing. But
go ahead.
Ozone is more potent. You know,
than hydrogen peroxide. Yes. And these machines aren't that expensive. I mean, they're about, what, $1,600?
Yeah. Yeah, if you buy the whole package that allows you to do ozone.
Oh, but then you need the sauna. Oh, $1,600 is with the sauna.
Yeah. Yeah, with the sauna, the oxygen source, the ozone generator. You get all the accessories with which you can do basically all applications except IVs.
I mean, to me, this is just so exciting because it just seems like it can address so many things that prevent disease.
That's right.
You know, and I find that our society, as you say, tries to treat the symptoms as opposed to the cause. I mean, I'm always trying to figure out how to put money into the bank. Okay, I take a little money out of the bank. I mean, I still smoke a cigarette a day, or two. But anyway, I mean, what I love is that, these are things that you can do to prevent cancer, because I don't want to die of cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and it works on cancer too.
Absolutely, yeah.
And why does it work on cancer?
Because ozone is a form of oxygen, and cancer, as proven by Dr. Otto Warburg in 1931, for which he won the Nobel Prize in Medicine, dies in an oxygen-rich environment. The lack of oxygen is a cause of cancer, and oxygen kills cancer.
Wow. So we've got 1 minute to... Anything else that you want to say about ozone? And you can get these machines at La Casa de Spa, and just tell Jane that Paula sent you. And anyway, I just am thrilled that these kind of technologies are available, and also that they're legal at least in 14 states. We're making progress. It's not so bad.
Well, the machines are legal. To use them at home, they're legal in every single state.
Well, that's good, but it's still good to have supervision. But anyway, thank you so much for telling me all about your experiences.
Well, thank you for having me.
Ozone, and this is Molly Cheshire. This is Meetings with Remarkable People. Thanks for joining. No, because it's starting from the beginning.
Hi, this is Paula, Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. And on this particular show, I want to invite you to the zone, to the ozone, and take this opportunity to announce the fact that I'm going to be creating a new documentary. Many of my Manhattan Neighborhood Network viewers know that I created a documentary with Dr. Jane Goldberg based on her interviews and research on low-level radiation, that radioactivity is something like a vitamin that we need. And this is one example of the radioactive stones that was used to heal many diseases and many problems. What was so interesting about this experience of creating this documentary was that after spending many, many hours, like 13 hours at a time in front of the computer editing, I noticed, because I was wearing a lot of the stones, like this is uranium, and this is this one here, so you can zoom in on it. This is uranium, which is, I can't remember what the number is. It's a 4 something. And this is much less, 0.0 something of radiation. So I used all of these stones, and lo and behold, I didn't need to use my reading glasses anymore. And it's not only not using the reading glasses, it was the enthusiasm, the kind of curiosity that you have when you're younger. Just, I noticed I liked to read more as a result of it. And there's so many interesting things to read and know. And so now I want to do a documentary called Because People Are Trying. And I, because of my, expanded inquisitiveness, have run across the tremendous healing benefits of hemp oil, medicinal hemp oil, which is the THC that attacks cancer, and the Rick Simpson story done by Christian Lauret. Run from the Cure is something I've investigated more, as well as Rick's travails with the court system. So there's a double entendre about because people are trying, because a lot of these cures are tied up in litigation and courts, but we can sort of pounce through that, just like destroying the Gideon's knot, I think, is something that my esteemed guest told me about the other day, how Alexander the Great unraveled this knot just by going right through it.
Gordian knot.
Gordian knot, thank you for the correction. And so it'll be ozone and also hemp oil that I'm going to add to the radioactive stones, because people are trying. So with that introduction, I'm so excited to have Paula with me. And Paula, you're the one that introduced me to ozone when you were talking to Jane at La Casa de Spa.
Mm-hmm.
What strikes you right now about where you stand with your journey? Because we heard a wonderful interview with Molly Cheshire. And what do you think is one of the biggest barriers? We've kind of gone through the legal problems. But what about individuals using it themselves and the detox symptoms, as somebody who's enthusiastic to share?
That a lot of people are discouraged whenever they encounter detox symptoms when they start ozone. Ozone can trigger symptoms like, for example, fever, rash, itching, burning. You can have bad breath, you can even throw up, you can have bouts of diarrhea, which are all essential to healing.
Right, the body rectifies itself if it's highly toxic.
Exactly.
Right.
Because the body wants to get rid of the toxins which are being killed by ozone. Ozone neutralizes all those pathogens, and once they're killed, once they're dead, the body wants to get rid of them. And so all those are all ways, either through the skin, through your breath, through your feces, through your sweat, to get rid of those. And it might get uncomfortable.
Right. So you don't back off, because, my situation with the eyesight improving, there were times when I could have said, whoa, I'm doing this too much. Maybe in my case there was some ringing in the ears, some nausea, a little headachy. But I sort of had this sense, I guess it was because all the scientific data that I was looking at, that's what encouraged me to say, no, this is a good thing, and to persist on. And then
Right.
I sort of made this breakthrough. And I also noticed that as I meditated, the experience was an experience that I thought was an experience I was no longer going to have in this body. Because when I was young and I first started meditation, it was so deep and profound, and that's what's happening again. So I think it's that focusing of the attention. It's not only detoxing or going through it. The benefits somehow come with the focus, which again is what I noticed when you gave me ozonated water with my teeth.
Right, what is your experience after you had those?
Well, like Molly said, the water tastes a little peculiar, and I'm noticing the more I'm exposed to ozone, the more wonderful it smells. Whereas before it was kind of, And you said, explain again for those that didn't see Molly's show, because I love that explanation.
Usually that's what I hear, that when people first encounter ozone or taste ozonated water, they don't like the taste, so they feel kind of a little repulsed. And then afterwards, after they've gone through detox, they actually welcome that taste and the.
But you
smell.
said the reason that the taste is uncomfortable or the smell is because of what?
Because okay, that's my theory. Because basically, it's the bacteria and the viruses and all the pathogens talking through you.
Right.
Because once when you smell the ozone, the bacteria and the viruses, they're scared of it. They hate it because they think, uh-oh, we're getting killed here, So when you're full of toxins, you're all those toxins talk through you,
Right.
You're a lot of
So that's kind of related. So when Paula gave me the ozonated water, I drank it, and I drank it kind of slowly. It was a great big glass, and then I'm starting to feel just nice, but normal, but not anything spectacular. And then I noticed that I had a pain in my teeth, and I had been observing this for about 3 months, that I was favoring one side of my mouth when I was chewing. And I thought, that's not so good, but I just dreaded the idea of going to the dentist. It's very expensive, and then I thought, and then once you get there, what are they going to discover? They're going to dig around, and there's got to be some bacteria, hovering around the teeth. So I really, I just, I kind of like avoided it. So as I'm drinking the water, for some reason I started to chomp on my teeth, and that side of my mouth that I would avoid, I started to feel even more. Now maybe I'm feeling it more because I'm sort of in a heightened, more alert state because of the ozone, but I decided to chomp down hard. And as I chomped down, I think on some subtle level I felt I had the confidence of you as a very knowledgeable person about ozone and your enthusiasm. And again, I was filled with a lot of knowledge about it, like working on Jane's documentary. It was the research that kept me going forward. So I pressed really hard and felt the pain harder than I ever had. And then, never again. And you asked me about it because you're doing your own, collecting the testimonials. And it's been over a week. I keep, now it's fine. Just like I was a kid again.
That's awesome.
It is. It really,
it's awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
So, and another thing about that focus, I don't know if you've studied Rick Simpson's hemp oil, but they talk about taking a pound of hemp, putting it in solvent, smashing it all up so that the THC goes out into the solvent, then removing the fiber and then boiling down that liquid so there's no solvent, and you're left with about 60 ounces, I think, of oil, which is mostly THC.
It's 2 ounces, which is 60 milliliters.
Oh, 60 milliliters, okay. So the 60 milliliters, a person would take, they start with a third or a half a grain of rice, tiny, which lasts most people with big diseases, serious diseases like cancer, about 90 days. But they said if you take it faster, you get the cure sooner. So I thought, and then one guy totally goofed up. He took it all at once, and he got very high because the THC is what makes you high. So I got to thinking, now do you want to get high or do you not want to get high? And then again in YouTube, I put this out, and somebody answered and said that you could make it go in about 60 days instead of 90, take a little more. And they were talking about getting used to it. And I thought, well, that's interesting, getting used to high, because some people rush to that experience. We know a certain downside to people with too much pot, right? So you don't think you have to get used to that.
I didn't know.
Well, the short-term memory and laziness and things, all of the negative stuff people have against. And I've seen it. I've had people in the control room that I wish they weren't high when it comes to a certain kind of focus. But again, in trying to figure out how to deal with this, it seems you need to have that expanded state but then direct your attention to the healing that you want. And that's what I meant about the detox. How you can, if there's any relationship, what's the common theme with low-level radiation, with ozone, with hemp oil? Some of these are more accessible and some are less. Hemp oil is highly illegal.
Right. Ozone, everyone can treat himself at home with ozone or whatever modality someone chooses to do it.
You don't want to bug him. We got a good German here on set.
Off. Likely it was off camera.
You can, if you treat yourself, you can treat yourself with whatever you choose. So this is legal in everywhere in America.
Right. But only in 14 states can a doctor do it.
That's right, as far as ozone is concerned.
Right.
The radiation hormesis, I don't know about the legality of that, but again, I'm sure, at home you can treat yourself with whatever you choose to.
Right.
Hemp oil, well, we know the situation.
We know the situation with that.
Right. Now, I would like to say something to detox that...
because that's what it really boils down to, is detox.
Right. Now, I know people who do radiation hormesis, they encounter detox, so of course with ozone, but I haven't heard about detox regarding hemp oil. I don't know whether you go through detox.
Well, what they said was it was an experience of getting used to it. What that meant was they might get a little paranoid if they took too much too quickly. That there can be that anxious feeling that comes up. So maybe that's like a mental detox.
But I don't know. I would not call this detox. That does not sound like detox to me.
Well, we'll find out. Somebody's going to be calling in, and I'm going to ask all these questions.
But
and this is not smoking; it's the oil.
Yeah. But important is to know that detox is not dangerous.
You can't die from detox.
Exactly, you can't die from detox. What is dangerous, to have a chronic condition or a life-threatening condition and not do anything about it besides taking drugs, which just take care of the symptoms but really suppress the real problem, or just misplace it to other parts of your body. That's dangerous, and that can kill you. Drugs can kill you, even if they're prescribed by a professional with the expiration date intact. It's a known and pretty common side effect of drugs that they kill. Every year in America, 100,000 people kill because of correctly prescribed drugs by professionals.
Yeah, the statistics are out there. It's not hidden, and yet the penny's not dropping. People aren't making the connection.
It's not hidden, but it's not being broadcast either.
Yeah.
It's not being publicized either. If you look for it, you'll find it easily. But you have to know to look for it. They will not give to you the information freely.
Right. How do you think people can be learning about biology and the effects? Because it's like there's an aversion. You think you're paying for a professional to tell you these things. You don't want to go to medical school yourself. You've got a problem. You want to get rid of your problem. I think you put a lot of time into learning things, right? Because of your Lyme disease?
Yes. Well, I still have it. Well, you can research by yourself. There are lots of publications, especially on ozone. You can talk to doctors which specialize in ozone. So yeah, if you want to find out, there's definitely a way, but you have to be able to weed out the FDA and big pharma propaganda from scientific facts.
Yeah, and there can even be misinformation and things that look like they're warm and fuzzy alternatives. It's like, I find myself, if I'm not clear on the science, I'm not inclined to go through any of the detox. If I understand why the detox is there, then I can pace myself. I can say this day I can afford this much detox because I'm trying to accomplish this, that, or the other. I remember when I was in Cyprus, my husband Vincenzo and I at the time fasted on grapes, just chewing the seeds and the whole grapes for 6 weeks. And it was
Wow.
very interesting experience because the sugar goes to your brain and you are very, as one Cypriot said, you become very clever. Well, in Cyprus, they had grapes. They were growing grapes, and there was a place in the Troodos Mountains where they gave the grape cure. It was kind of part of their tradition to do that. But again, there was detox involved. We would go into the Mediterranean, and I felt that the salt was helping that. So, whereas I would go into the sea for maybe 10 or 15 minutes when I was fasting, 2 hours could go by, and it was like you're detoxing. You're in another state.
Yeah. I used to. I once did a water fast for 28 days, and that detox that I encountered was really, really interesting. Really interesting.
So when you go through this, what do? You don't want to mitigate the systems.
When I go through detox, and this is also something that I would tell anybody to do it too, is to increase whatever you're doing that causes that detox, because that's what I'm doing, and for me it has worked so far. Because to me, when I experience a detox reaction, for me it's a sign. Okay, the ozone is hitting the spot. My body is healing, so what I want to do is I want to encourage this, and I want to keep my body healing, right? And if I cut off whatever protocol I'm doing that is triggering the detox, is like I'm also interrupting the detox.
Yeah, you know, I encourage comments from the peanut gallery here, Molly. You were talking about the effect of having you as a knowledgeable person around to encourage somebody to use the technology. For example, somebody can order one of these saunas and the different machines to produce the ozone and to shoot it in your ears and all the various orifices so you can flood the body with ozone. But to have a knowledgeable person around when the detox comes so that that you're really encouraged that moving forward is the right direction is pretty critical.
The thing is, the problem is people are scared of detox, and okay, I can understand to a certain degree, okay, but because most detox symptoms are symptoms that you encounter when you're sick, when you're down with flu or whatever disease you have. So it's not comfortable. It's not, it's you feel sick, and
but that's
who wants
part of
to
the
feel sick?
How do you tell the difference between detox and being sick?
Right.
When you do something that you know can trigger a detox, like radiation hormesis, like ozone, like cemento, like colloidal silver, or various other protocols, and you get sick, then most probably that's what it is. But really, it doesn't really matter, because let's say it was not detox, you did catch a flu, you did catch a virus, right? So the protocol in both cases is the same. You just continue the detox program.
I think it's because people don't know what end is in sight. That's what it is. When Molly says, how do you know the difference? Even if you were sick.
That's why people...
I guess it's this tendency to think, this is making me sick. And we have this symptomatic society that as soon as you have a problem, you want to get rid of that symptom right away, instead of allowing it to...
That's the reason why ozone is labeled as a toxic gas by the FDA. Because if you breathe in ozone, raw ozone, it does irritate your lungs, and it's possible that you start coughing or wheezing. So immediately everybody raises their hands and, oh my god, it's toxic, she can't breathe, right? But if you actually examine the cases of people who are exposed to high levels of ozone every day, For example, people who work at municipal places where you purify water, where they ozonate water, okay, they're always exposed to ozone, or ozone doctors, right? Then you realize those people do not have any long-term side effects from ozone. On the contrary, they report that they got rid of their chronic conditions they had, that they're healthier, that they get less sick than their friends and families, you know?
Can you explain something in your interview with Jane at La Casa de Spa? And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, New York is one of the fortunate 14 states where ozone therapy is legal. So at 41 East 20th Street, you can get your own ozone treatments. Jane explained why smog is, they say the ozone levels are high, and that was a way that nature was healing.
Yeah.
Do you remember how she said that?
Yeah, so the thing is this, ozone levels are not really high
in the smoggy days of LA.
It's actually, they should be higher. If they were higher, there would be
an alleviation
less smog.
of the smog.
No? The
So
thing is, why is the smog, why is the ozone in the smog mixture? Because that's a natural way of nature to try to eliminate those toxins that we put into the air through the exhaustion gases. So nature produces spontaneously ozone, so the ozone could eliminate the exhaustion gases and all the other toxins floating around.
Okay, so now we're getting to the naturalness of it. Ozone, it's a natural thing. Otto Warburg got the Nobel Prize in 1931, and yet insurance companies don't seem to be paying for this as a therapy. And then people are so strapped now, they're so stressed out about their health care, that if they are having insurance, I was going to say fortunate to have it, but sometimes I've talked to some people saying more people are dying from insurance than being cured from it because of choices that are available to them only within the realm of what the insurance will pay for, some of which means putting liver very unfriendly poisons into them. They call it medicine, but if you look at the science, it's actually poisoning the liver.
Exactly.
Or chemotherapy.
Or chemotherapy poisons the liver too.
Every drug, every prescription drug poisons the liver.
Yeah. So how do you work when the health is so debilitated, the economy is so debilitated, people don't have access, and yet if you do an ozone therapy in conjunction with others and they improve, the skin cancers go away and so on, then they'll be saying, oh, I can handle this lethal drug. You want them to be able to handle it. We were talking earlier about the importance of paying, because if people invest in a therapy, if it's the equipment, I think what Molly was saying, if they aren't guided by somebody who has spent the years really you have with the research, then it might just sit there in the box. So you need someone to help you with it. And yet if you're taking these other therapies, the drugs, it's working against it. How do you get people to value their investment if they haven't made an investment, if you give it away?
Well, they have to understand that the alternative drugs is really not an alternative, They have to understand that drugs do not heal the cause of the problem.
But that's like saying that the sun doesn't go around the earth goes around the sun. Everyone in the society is thinking, how could that possibly be?
I don't know. I think people they know what's going on.
You think
People hate drugs, and there's so many cases where people will try one drug for some time, and then they realize it doesn't work anymore, and then they switch to another drug. It works for some time, and then it stops working, and then they go back to the doctor, prescribes them another drug. It's a circle, and people know that they realize, but they are not presented with any alternatives, because when they ask the doctor, yes, have you heard about that herb, or have you heard about that ozone therapy, or have you heard about hemp oil, then the doctor will discourage them. The doctor will say, no, it's look, there are no studies which prove that this works. You know, so they're trapped. They're trapped in the system, and they have to break out of the system on their own. On their own.
On their own, they have to break out. So, in other words, before you can be educated, you have to have some lust for it, some desire, some appetite. You got this appetite because of the Lyme? Or where did you get the energy to do it? It takes a lot of energy to study, that's what I'm saying. When people are sick, they just want to rely on what an expert will say.
I had a long story with painkillers too. I was for years, for most of my life, I had to deal with a really bad migraine during my menstruation, and so I would take all the known painkillers on the market, and one by one, they would work for some time, and then they stopped working. On the contrary, they made my migraine even worse. So I switched to another one, until there were no painkillers left anymore to switch to. So I realized this is all bull, you know.
Right.
There's
So
gotta be something
there
else.
you are.
So what did you do? I mean, how did you fix your migraines?
I came across nettle tea, stinging nettle tea.
And that worked?
I don't remember anymore how. Oh, I know. A friend of mine, a school friend of mine, she had a book. It was a book about herbs written by some German woman. She was a wise woman with herbs and
Anyway,
stuff.
so nettle tea, you got
yeah.
20 seconds left and Paula needs to wrap it up. Sorry, Paula.
That's okay. Thanks, Molly. Well, you can get an idea that there's a lot to study here. This is Paula, Gloria, and this has been a really, really fun episode down the rabbit hole in the zone, the ozone. And remember La Casa de Spa if you want to check it out yourself. Thanks. Did I make it? Just. Did I get La Casa so people can
Yeah, because there was
okay.
3 seconds.
Because I like to give people something for their hands. But let's continue with the migraines, because I'll run a little over.
Yeah,
No,
no,
you can
are you
still,
yeah, I'm still rolling. We got 4 minutes.
I can just turn this in now.
Yeah, so I realized that the stinging nettle tea worked miraculously. Plus, I got rid of my warts that I had on my feet, and they were so bad and so hurtful that I love to run every day in the woods where I used to live in Germany, and I had those warts exactly at those pressure points on my feet. It was just moving pain with every
You've really
stop.
paid your dues.
Yeah, and
You know?
and so I realized that that after drinking the nettle tea, a couple of weeks into it, a week or 2 weeks, the warts were not painful anymore. They were soft. And then I think altogether 4 or 5 weeks that it took of drinking nettle tea, I would drink 2 cups a day. They were just gone. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I read in this book of this wise herbalist German woman that what stinging nettle does is it cleans your blood, okay? And since warts are just a symptom of a virus that you have in your blood, the stinging nettle tea, stinging nettle tea, thank you, cleared out the virus out of the blood, and so the symptom, which was the warts, disappeared. Et voila.
Wow.
And your migraines?
And my migraines disappeared too. But then they came back when I had the Lyme shot. That fucked up. Sorry, I know.
That's okay.
That messed up, everything again. So.
Why would you take a Lyme vaccination,
Well, because
knowing everything you know?
I used to run in the woods and I was just scared, and I thought, okay, I get the Lyme shot and I'll be protected, right? Ticks can bite me how much they
And
want.
you'll be invincible.
I'll be invincible.
Because I have my vaccination.
Because I have my vaccination. As it turned out, the vaccine gave me Lyme.
Yeah.
But
then,
that's a known story because as
or it brought to fore all of the symptoms. Yeah.
No, it gave me Lyme. It definitely
I
gave
thought
me
you said.
Lyme.
I thought you said at 15 you realized you had it earlier.
I had a tick bit me, and so I must have gotten Lyme then too. But then the vaccine, it was like another dosage of Lyme, so I had like a double dosage. And I remember when I went to get the Lyme shot, the physician told me you have to come back after a certain amount of months to get a second shot, because that's how the Lyme the shot works, right? And I totally forgot about that one. I don't want to even know what would have.
But isn't it exciting what the human body's like, and to watch the healing process? You know, the disease is such a bad thing, but the healing, it's a wonderful responsibility to have a human body, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, that's about all she wrote.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry I derailed your show.